Hello, and thank you for joining. My name is Alana Tufford, and I'm the Marketing Manager for OCR Canada. Today, I'll be your moderator. We're going to be hearing from CK2, Channel Business Manager, Productivity Products, and Doug Brown, Senior Marketing Manager, Software Productivity Products, both from Honeywell North America. We invite you to use the Q&A function throughout this webinar, as following our presentations, we'll work to address any questions you have. CK, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Alana. Thank you for everyone for joining, and good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the country. So happy to present to you guys on this webinar. Back in June, Honeywell launched a back-to-work solution, and today we're here to talk about what that technology looks like and how we're helping to shape your future of your operations. So just a quick introduction on the presenters today. So Doug Brown, I have with me, who will be presenting some of the technology. He's the Senior Marketing Manager for software, or how he likes to be referred to as is the software technology evangelist. And myself, CK2, I'm the Channel Business Manager for Canada, and I represent OCR, manage OCR. Next slide. So the agenda for today, we're going to touch on some of the customer challenges based on the new environment that we're living in, some of the software offerings that Honeywell has come out with, and the hardware offerings that you might be familiar with, and then open it up to Q&A. Some housekeeping. I think Alana mentioned that this webinar will be recorded. Post your questions in the Q&A box, and then at the end of the webinar, we'll address them. So in the midst of all this that's happening around us, you know, we understand that there are some concerns and challenges that facing your business today. You know, with the shutdowns, partial shutdowns, a lot of organizations were running, you know, at half staff or completely shut down, and now, you know, phase 2, phase 3, depending on what province you're in. You know, businesses are starting to open up. So how can businesses, you know, protect the employees and customers that you guys service? So we understand that there are some challenges and concerns in this area, and how we can address that here. So first of all, you know, the sharing and cleaning of devices, you know, previously before, it's pretty commonplace, you know, sharing of devices, you know, taking it out previous shift. Throughout the day, you guys are sharing devices. Who's touched it? Who's that? There was no, you know, thought about the consequence of that. Now, you know, there's increased sensitivity to, you know, transmission of infectious diseases, cleaning of devices, whether it's been cleaned or not. Secondly, social distancing. Are people complying with social distancing protocols for the province or municipality or for your organization? Occupancy limits. Certain businesses, you know, can have a limit of, you know, a certain number of people within the 4 walls, depending on regulation. And then with people working remotely, how do you connect the workforce and maintain lines of communication effectively and be productive? And how we address that, we've come out with a few novel solutions that, you know, with device data tracing, tracking the chain of custody, who's used that device, with check-in, check-out, and also for our hardware, disinfectant-ready housing. With more and more people disinfecting devices, introducing disinfectant-ready housing allows more harsher chemicals to be used on that device for disinfection. With proximity alerts, we can tell on Honeywell devices whether or not 2 individuals using the device come into close proximity. If so, you know, with contact tracing, if that individual becomes infected, we're able to go through that chain of custody to determine, you know, who is potentially affected by that individual. So with occupancy limits, we've introduced dynamic people counting so we can keep track in real time of how many employees are within that building, within that facility, to determine, if they're complying with protocols. And then to connect the workforce, we have software that does instant communication with our Smart Talk software, so that employees can maintain, effective productivity at all times. So just to introduce the problem quickly, the CDC and the WHO have both determined that within 14 days, that's the amount of time that an employee could be contagious and asymptomatic. And then before all this happened, study has shown that less than 10% of organizations have robust cleaning protocols for IT equipment. So within that time that an employee or individual is contagious, they can potentially affect countless people using that device, and organizations have limited processes, systems, and governance for proper cleaning controls, which introduce risk in their organization. Next slide. And so the business impact is a risk, right? So what is the risk? Within a workday shift of 3 shifts, operators may handle that same device. 84 operators may handle that same device in a 2-week period. So our goal is to reduce that risk, and prevent a negative impact to productivity and revenues. If potential sick leave pay for one device not properly cleaned, for that one device is up to $135,000 in potential sick leave pay. So having proper protocols in place could alleviate that negative effects of productivity. So our approach is a holistic approach, and it taps into 3 different things. The first one is protecting people and places with social distancing protocols, coupled with devices with disinfectant-ready housing. That leads to servicing our customers better with unified communications, with customer counting within stores and facilities, and that drives productivity with our asset check-in, check-out, device cleaning manager, and all of this works together in conjunction with one another to protect and respond and to reimagine your processes and how your businesses function. So with that, I'll hand it over to Doug to go over some of our specific solutions that we have today.
All right, thanks, CK. All right, so let's jump into a little more detail of some of the functionality that CK just referred to. Let me get my slides to still work. So Honeywell has developed a solution. It's a software product called Operational Intelligence. And what's unique about this tool is that it runs the software, part of the software runs up in the cloud. We're hosted up on the Microsoft Azure cloud. But what we did to support being able to collect more information from our devices is that we have been designing in hardware sensors into our hardware designs now for, we're going on 4 or 5 years, where now we can collect very detailed performance data from our hardware, whether it's a printer or a barcode scanner or a mobile computer, and then analyze that data up in the cloud and then provide it to our customers, who can then use that data to both know, are they getting the most out of their equipment, but also are they getting the most out of their workers, their work processes, and all of those kinds of things that go into running an effective business. So quickly, what I want to show you on this slide is that a lot of times there's an assumption that operational intelligence software is just a mobile device manager. And that's not what it is. If you look over on the right-hand side, there's a little bubble here that says third-party mobile device managers. Operational intelligence really sits between a mobile device manager and say your help desk software. So if your company has got where you're if something's wrong with a piece of equipment, you can call a help desk. That software, that help desk is running to track those issues that are found. We support that, but we don't we don't overlap either one of those. So to give you some examples, some things we can do, we have some very detailed analysis that we can do on your batteries of your devices. We know if, like a mobile computer, we can tell if your employees are dropping them. We can tell if your employees are throwing them against the wall. We also, in addition to all of this detailed sensor kinds of information, we also have been able to deploy some health crisis response features, some very specific features to what's going on in this time that we are in right now. So let me give you another quick overview. The way operational intelligence is kind of packaged is it comes in 3 packages. We have what we call a basic package, and that's the part of this software system that allows you to see all the pretty graphs and the dashboards and all of that information. The really cool thing about the basic package is we don't charge for it. For our customers who have Honeywell equipment, if they want to see that detailed data, that's all free in the basic package. Then we have another package called Professional, and the Professional package is it is really more than just dashboards and graphs. It's more very specific tools for solving very specific issues. So for example, finding lost equipment. If you want a check-in, check-out, you need to know which worker has which device. There's a feature built into the Professional for that. We have these health crisis features, the ones that you see in the blue dots in the middle there. Things like the device cleaning manager that CK referenced, proximity detection. We can tell if you have 2 employees close together, customer counters, remote control of devices. And then we even have a module called Service Manager that will help manage the RMA process, the repair process of your equipment as well. So let's jump into a little deeper detail on some of these back to work capabilities that we've added to this software system. So the first thing we thought about and this literally back in the month of April when we sent our engineers home, we said, hey, while you're at home, think about what kind of technology could we add to operational intelligence to support our customers, as many of them are still having to work during this time in buildings with other employees, with the public. And so one of the things we came up with is a device cleaning manager. And the way this works is you can, within operational intelligence, you can define a cleaning activity. It could be clean the device. It could be clean your work area. It could be, hey, please go clean the shopping carts, or it could be go clean the bathroom. It really doesn't matter what kind of, what you want to clean, but this feature allows you then to define the cleaning task, assign it to an individual, and then push that out to them. And then we log that the individual acknowledged that they performed that cleaning task or that they didn't perform that cleaning task. And so that allows you then to both send a signal to your employees that you're really serious about these cleaning processes and that you're serious about creating a healthy environment for them as well. So it's a really great digital reminder that has a log behind it that allows you to really track are your policies and procedures really being followed by your staff. The next one is check out, check in. You know, it's kind of, it's one thing to know what serial number device is doing certain things in your operation, but it's also valuable at times to know what person is using that device at that time, especially environments where maybe you have shared devices where, you know, different people pick it up at different times to do workflows in your area. So there's a feature that we have called check out, check in, where we can monitor who in the, you know, your company is actually using that device at that time. And then that feeds into a lot of other features and tools and reports that we have within operational intelligence. So then later on, as you're maybe looking at certain processes, or, let's say somebody dropped a device, you would actually be able to go into this system and know which of your employees dropped it and what time did they drop that device. And in fact, we even have the ability to know where in the building they were standing when they dropped the device. Another handy tool is remote control. Now, classically, things like remote control and remote device system wipe are for customers who buy mobile device managers. But we went ahead and added this feature into operational intelligence because there's two scenarios where we felt that it was useful. One is that not all companies have purchased a mobile device manager. And then the other scenario was some customers have mobile device managers, but they don't really use it for the actual, say the warehouse environment or the store environment. They're using it for bigger ticket items like managing the company's laptops or managing the company's cell phones. And so they have the tool, but they don't really use it for this kind of technology. So we went ahead and added in some mobile device management-like features. And one of them is remote control. Now, another very interesting feature of this tool is that if you think about it, let's say an employee is having trouble with a piece of equipment. I mean, today, without this capability, you've got to go and get that device from the employee and put your hands on it and try to figure out what may be wrong with it. With remote control, you don't have to do that. You can stay in the safety of your office. They stay in the safety of their work environment. You can take control of their device and try to diagnose what's going on, change settings, reboot it. There's a lot of control that you have over the system. You can reload the software, all of that without ever having to violate that social distancing protocol that you have, without having to actually physically touch the device with your hands. So it's really it's a very supportive feature of what we're experiencing today in this pandemic environment. Now, social distancing, we all know it's an important tool that we're using to kind of limit the spread of the virus. And so one of the things that we were able to do by using the radio technology in our mobile computers, we can actually detect when two of our mobile computers are close together or far apart. And so we went ahead and added that feature into the system, into operational intelligence. You can go in and define that distance. The default is set to 6 feet, 2 meters, but it's adjustable. And then you can even define how much time your employees are together within that distance before you say, you know what, I want to flag this event. I want to let these employees know that, hey, I think you're spending too much time in close proximity, and that's probably not safe. So for example, if you don't want two employees passing each other in an aisle or a hallway to trigger this, then you set it to say, well, they have to be, next to each other for 20 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever time you deem. It's all configurable. And then if that trigger occurs, both of them, their screens will go from whatever it normally was. It'll light up and the screen will go red, and it'll notify them that they're standing too close to another employee. And then when they move apart, the screens will go green to notify them that they're now a safe distance apart, and then their screen goes back to what their normal work screen would be. But we also log that event in operational intelligence up on the cloud, so that, let's say one of those employees later wasn't feeling well, and you felt like, listen, I need to find out how many other employees in the building that we're pretty certain that they've had some close interaction with. You could go back into this log and actually see potentially, okay, I can see 3 events over the last 2 days or 5 days where this employee has had one of these logged events where they've been standing next to somebody for an extended period of time. Customer counter. A lot of locations are having to limit the number of people that come into an area, a building, a space. And so the way we developed this is basically it's cloud-based software you station a person at each door, and they run this this web application that's built into operational intelligence. You define how many people are allowed in the building or the space, and then each person at the door, as they walk in, somebody's pressing the in, and when somebody walks out, they press the out. All the doors are synchronized in the application, so each door is seeing the same number. As you start to get close to full capacity, the application will warn you to now start slowing down the flow of people in until some people walk out. And so it's a really great way to monitor how many people are in the building, and handle the flow of people through your different entry and exit ways. And again, this is data that's logged. So if you need to go back and say the next day and say, well, just how many people do we have coming in the building at what time of day? And it can also allow you then to adjust, maybe your staffing levels or whatever to support the kind of business load that you're having as well. And another feature I want to talk about, now this is called Smart Talk. Smart Talk it's another application. It's not part of operational intelligence, but it's very supportive of operational intelligence. Smart Talk is a unified communication mobile application. And what it does is it basically allows on your mobile computers, your barcode mobile computers. It actually works on other kinds of devices. I'll talk about that in a second. But think for a second, if you have a barcode mobile computer and you would love to be able to communicate with the person, your worker that's carrying that device, Smart Talk will allow you to send a text message to them, like instant messaging. You can also do push to talk, almost like, exactly like a walkie-talkie. You can do one-to-one, one-to-many. You can create groups and say, hey, I want to talk to everybody at once. You can actually make phone calls internal, and you can actually make phone calls external. So if you needed to call home, you would be able, on your barcode mobile computer, you could call home, or vice versa. And here's a very common application for, say, in the retail world, where somebody calls into a store and says, hey, I need to find out if you've got a certain product on the shelf and where I can come by and pick it up. You could be able to transfer that call through Smart Talk to an employee that's out in the store, and they could take their mobile computer that they use to do inventory control and product lookup and answer that phone call and have a conversation with that customer, who then can come in the store and pick up the item, or you can have it shipped to them or whatever. So it's really a powerful tool to take the equipment that you're already using and add communication to it. One of the added advantages of this Smart Talk software is that it'll run on any kind of mobile computer that can talk to a radio, that has a microphone and a speaker. So you could run it on an iPhone. You could run Smart Talk on non-Honeywell mobile computers. It'll even run on your personal computer, or it would run on a laptop or an iPad. Somebody could be sitting at their desk and needing to call somebody at the receiving door, and they could do all of that almost exactly like we're doing today, where we're using Zoom. Smart Talk is like that. Somebody can be on a computer talking to somebody else on a mobile device. So it's very, very powerful, and it's very supportive of this back to work environment that we're in. One of the problems that they're discovering a lot in some of these work environments is that, they call all the employees together and they say, everybody come to the break room. We're going to have a team meeting and we're going to talk about new processes and new procedures. Well, the reality is you've just brought everybody into a close area, which is not generally a good way to practice social distancing. It just creates an environment where it's just not healthy. And so with this, we're using Smart Talk. All your employees have these mobile computers, say, and let's take, for example, a warehouse. All of those employees could stay where they are, and you could actually do a team call, a group huddle, and everybody could be on the call at the same time. Everybody could listen to the instructions, listen to the new policies and new procedures, and not have to come together, and not everybody can hear what they need. And if they want to ask questions, they can press the button and they can speak to everybody else, and everybody else can hear that question as well. So it's really a very powerful tool to support what we're doing to create a healthy, back to work environment. So I highly recommend that you look at both operational intelligence and Smart Talk as two really powerful software tools to take advantage of creating a safer work environment for your employees. All right, so CK, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thanks a lot, Doug. So yeah, very powerful software tools that Honeywell has come out with over the last few months. Another layer that we've added to ensure safety as your employees return back to work is in our hardware offering. So in today's environment, with the increased sensitivity to bacteria and virus transmission, there's a constant need of sanitizing and disinfecting shared equipment. So our traditional hardware, oftentimes are being used by multiple employees. How do you ensure and instill protocols in your organization to maintain safe, sharing of devices, right? So we've deployed some technology to meet the current demand of the situation. So we're focusing on 3 aspects on how we're doing that. First is protecting people and places. Now, organizations, like I said, are disinfecting equipment with harsher chemicals now and disinfectants that can over time degrade plastics as they are porous and potentially seep in and interrupt some of the electronics inside, a scanner or a mobile computer. But using our legacy of performance of, our health or disinfectant ready housing that we have with our healthcare products right now. We have a strong heritage in healthcare scanners. We're the first ones to introduce disinfectant ready scanners in hospitals. So now we're doing that with our general purpose application hardware, with infusing that technology with special plastics that will be more resistant to degradation over time. We've published, on our blogs and our website, different cleaning solutions that are approved and tested, certified to use on our disinfectant-ready housing on our blog. So the link in the slides here will direct you. I think this will be made available after this webinar. So next slide. So introducing an already existing technology, a technology infusion into current products, taking existing knowledge in material sciences and putting into everyday products that we have to offer will create that additional layer to help your employees, safely operate within your environment, right? So we've introduced the later half of this year, starting with some of the scanners, our most popular scanners out there today with the Xenon XP, Voyager XP. I believe these 2 are orderable right now with the disinfectant ready housing. And then later on, we'll slowly roll out additional hardware that can be used in various vertical markets, from retail, warehouse, distribution centers, TNL. So enabling your workers to have that peace of mind that you, with the check-in, check-out and our cleaning manager solution for Op Intel, to be able to disinfect the hardware appropriately without, over time degrading the plastic with that. So that helps customer improve workplace safety protocols right there. So I guess that wraps up what we have to talk about today. So in summary, we have a suite of solutions right now that will address, going back to work safely in your environment. Please engage your OCR Canada sales representatives to help address, the unique challenges that you're facing right now. Utilize the partnership with Honeywell and our technology solutions in software and both hardware to address these workflow challenges, these new safety protocols that you might be implementing in your workplace today. And please approach us in how we can help you resolve some of the challenges. So thank you for attending. Thank you for your time. And I think, Alana, if they're opening up to Q&A, any questions, please feel free to ask us at this time.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen, for that presentation. We do have a couple of questions that have come in. The first one I have here, how do I demo or trial the software for operational intelligence or smart talk?
Excellent question. So we offer a free pilot. Demo classically is we can get on with you and we'll take you into the system and show you all the screens. It's based on data or devices that are running at a Honeywell facility or something like that. If you want to actually try it with your equipment, then we call that a pilot, but pilots are free. We don't charge for those. And we basically, it takes about a day for you to tell us what devices that you have. We have a kind of an input form that you fill out for us. And then we go and configure that in the operational intelligence system. You'll work with the technical folks at OCR and at Honeywell, and we'll get your software loaded up on your devices so that it can now talk to operational intelligence. And then as the data flows in, you'll get a login into the system. You'll see all these really cool graphs and data that tells you all the things. If you want to try some of these cool features I told you about today, the social distancing features or recovering lost equipment or all kinds of tools like that, all of those features we can turn on for you and let you experience it for yourself during this pilot time.
Fantastic. I have two more questions, but again, anybody that has questions, please use the Q&A portion of the Zoom meeting. It's at the bottom. Second question, we have a mix of deployment of devices. Can we still use the software?
On some of this, yes, and some of no. And I think let me see if I can interpret what that question means. So let's say, for example, you have some Honeywell devices, and maybe you have other brand, maybe printers or scanners or other brand mobile computers. Today, operational intelligence that is collecting data from the devices, that works primarily with or solely with Honeywell devices. Now, I think over time we're going to expand that to it actually works with other brands. But today it's only Honeywell. The Smart Talk solution that I talked about briefly, that will work with any brand device. So that, like I said, that'll work with an iPhone or an iPad or a PC, a Honeywell device, or another vendor's device as well. So that's a little more device agnostic, if you would, on brand.
Is the asset check-in, check-out done on the device itself?
Yes and no. It works both ways. It's actually a web application, which means you can go into the screens where you're creating the checkout event or the check-in event. You could do that from a PC running this on a web browser, and so, or you can actually pull up that exact same screen on a mobile device in a facility. Now, I don't want to oversell this feature because it actually has a roadmap of enhancements that are coming on it. The way it works today is that assignment is you find the device you want to check out, you pull down a list of employees that are eligible to check it out, you assign the two together and click check out, and that's the process, and you reverse that for check-in. Where we're going with this is there's a couple of, we're going to the point where an employee could just say scan their badge, and that creates that checkout or check-in event. That's probably going to be in our next release that's coming later this year. And then we're also working on the capability that your applications where your employees are logging into something in your own business application, that we can get an API interface to that, which that'll create a check-in, check-out event inside of operational intelligence. So it's more of an automatic programmatic check-in, check-out. So both of those are in the roadmap, but today it's a process of pull up a list of devices, pull up a list of people, and assign the two together. Like, those are great questions.
Yeah, so unfortunately we haven't had any more questions come through, so it looks like we're wrapping up a little bit early, but if beyond this, if there are any questions, the contact information is there, info@ocr.ca, or give us a call, and we'll connect you with the appropriate Honeywell representative or with the appropriate OCR representative. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for your presentation skills, and thank you everybody else for attending.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, bye-bye. Have a great day.
Have a great day. See ya.
Bye-bye.